Hey boys and girls, this week we are going to start talking about food chains and food webs. So as we are discussing food chains and food webs, we're going to see lots of different vocabulary that you can see on the right side of your screen. Food chain and food web might be new for you, and we have producers, things that give us food, consumers, what's eating, decomposer, herbivore, carnivore, omnivore, predator, and prey. So a lot of these words may be familiar to you, but we're going to be using those throughout this week and this unit. So let's get started. First, we're going to talk about a food chain. So you can think about a paper chain, like you may make counting down to something, but they all connect to each other. So a food chain is a group of living things that form a chain, and the first is eaten by the second, and the second is eaten by the third, and so on. So if we look at this picture, we can see the flower. Now the flower is the producer. Okay? Caterpillar is eating the flower, so it's consuming that. Well, here comes the frog eating the caterpillar. It's also a consumer. And then comes the snake and gets the frog. The owl is coming after that snake also. We can also include things like the sun, because that begins a lot of the process for the producer. So we have plants. And in this case, it's talking about herbivores, or things that are eating plants. And then we've got different consumers. This one is an omnivore, carnivore. And so you can see that it's this cycle that's happening. Now, a food web is the group of food chains in an ecosystem that are connected. So, not everything is eating everything else in an area. So you can see here, sometimes more than one thing is going to eat plants. Just like we see this caterpillar and these different insects. And then some things are eaten by more than one animal. So that's the difference in a food web and a food chain. The food chain is just talking about that one specific thing. Food web is talking about a lot of different things that can be going on in the same ecosystem. Okay, a producer. A producer is an organism that produces oxygen and food. So that would be like plants or algae. So we can see the producers here. They're kind of at the bottom. And we can see the producers here in our picture in our food web. Consumer. Animals are consumers. They eat algae, they eat plants, or they might eat other animals. So producers are kind of the beginning, and then the consumers are going to be the next thing that comes. We also have decomposers. So this can be bacteria, fungus, worms that break down the dead plants and animals, and they put them into useful things that enrich the soil. All right, an herbivore, or you might hear somebody say a herbivore, but they're eating only plants. So this is leaves, grass, flowers, seeds, roots, fruit. Herbivores that we know are deer, horses, rabbits, cows, bees, sheep, grasshoppers. Carnivore. These are our meat eaters, eating those other animals. Could also be insects. So lions and tigers and eagles and owls and frogs. Omnivores, like us, are eating both plants and animals. So we're an example. Bears, a lot of primates, birds. Okay, a predator, an animal that hunts and kills other animals for food. So if you've ever watched any Discovery Channel or Animal Planet, you've seen this. And then there's also the prey, the animals that are hunted for food. So that is a quick overview of the vocabulary and things that we're going to be seeing as we study food chains and food webs this week.